Like my hair doesn't look that bad, like in this light, like in the darkness, it's alright. It looks okay.
G'day guys and welcome back to another episode of the Taking It Easy podcast. Now, today's episode is going to be a very interesting one to say the least. But first things first, Rod, I just want to talk about your hair because the people would have seen in the intro. What were you thinking?
Well, I mean, I know you said you wanted to talk about my hair, but I don't have any. I don't have any.
Yeah, literally. Wait, come on, show it. Hey!
The head is out, guys. The head is
It has grown back pretty quickly, but we won't talk about the hairline because that's a whole other topic.
That's why I wear a cap, because my hairline is just. I'll tell you the story, right? So
tell us why it happened, because obviously that wasn't the initial haircut. You looked like fucking Avatar: The Last Airbender for about 12 hours until you decided, nah, this isn't the look.
No, exactly. So, I mean, me and my best mate Luca, we were like hanging out. We had a sleepover and we were just grinding 2K, because we're really into basketball. And so the next morning we're like, let's do a cut up. So I trimmed up Luca's hair, shaved it all off, gave him a mean skin fade, beautiful rat's tail. And he has like a perfect hairline. And I was like, oh, you know what? Like, I've never shaved my head before, so I think I might try it. And so it took me about 10-15 minutes of debating with myself whether I was going to shave my head off. And then I was like, you know what, fucking, I'm going to shave my head off. I've never tried it before, so I'm just going to do it. And so as soon as we shaved it all off, I was like, oh, fuck. And Luke was like, oh, what's wrong? And I was like, I have a wank hairline, as everyone can see. And I was like, this is absolutely terrible. How can we make this better?
But you still had hair in the middle.
Yeah, I still had hair in the middle, and so I was like, how can we make this better? And then I was like, you know what, maybe if I just make my haircut into a meme haircut and do The Last Airbender, people will think, oh, he's just having a joke and he's done this.
Yeah.
And the hairline won't look as bad, but no, it's growing back. I really feel like KSI, like my forehead feels fucking
That's incredible. It's like so you have hair here, and then you move across a little bit, and it's like back here.
I know, but like, look, bro, like 4 fingers isn't enough to fit on my forehead, bro.
And you got big fucking hands as well.
And I got massive hands, so I think I'm just gonna stick to the cap, bro.
Oh my days! But yeah. What will you say? Are you good trim or bad trim? Are you happy with it at the moment?
I mean, it's growing back. You know, I'm getting used to it, to be honest. You know, like there's nothing I can actually do about it. You know, I just like, it's there. I can't get my old hair back. I just have to deal with it.
Well, so they say, the difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut's a few weeks. So
3 weeks, they say the difference between a good and bad haircut's 3 weeks.
When you've done a 0 all the way around, though, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was actually a double 0. You know, Luca did me.
That's the thing, because when I shaved my head, I did a 1, and that was really fucking short. But you were like, I know, like yours is more like a 1 now, but like when you first did it, you were quite literally bald. Like,
yeah, I mean, I got called every name under the sun: a cancer patient, a Thai lady boy. And everything, mate. It was pretty tragic, you know, because people would be like slapping my head and it would actually hurt. There wasn't like a layer of hair protection. It would just be my. And
when we went to go play cricket, you'd have to put sunscreen on your fucking scalp.
Yeah, no, I was like, I put sunscreen on my hand and just everywhere. No sunburn for Road Dog.
That's class. Sun safe. But let's get into the nitty gritty, man, because like, you know, we've actually been receiving. Well, I mean, not me. You have been receiving quite a fair bit of hate. So, I mean, we're taking 2 different sides here. We're talking about something joking, and now we're talking about something pretty serious. You put something on your Snapchat story the other day. So most of the people, you know, who are followed on the Taking It Easy, you know, might not have seen it. It was on your personal Snapchat. But you put out a comment about Lil Nas X. And obviously, you know, his new album and what he's putting out there in his social medias. You want to elaborate a bit or what?
Yeah, no, sure thing. So obviously, I'm sure a lot of people watching saw. If you haven't, so I put a post up about Lil Nas X on his on a recent Instagram post that popped up. You know how on Instagram like you scroll through and it has like the adverts and, you know, for his new
Is this
album.
Reels like the
No, not Reels. Like I was just scrolling through. Now how you have those like certain like sponsored ads on Instagram when you're scrolling through? Yeah, it was one of those sponsored ads about his new album. And obviously it was kind of a bit exposing. you know, him quite naked or hooking up with another man, or in a recent music video, like him in a shower naked with, you know, 30 other men and stuff like that. And obviously I don't have a problem with gay people or people coming out and being gay or their message or anything at all. I've got plenty of gay friends as well. But I think a lot of people thought I was actually attacking the gay community, where I was just giving my opinion on one certain guy who just happens, the content that he's been putting out has been a bit, for me, I think it's been a bit edgy. And so my actual initial problem was, you know, he's putting out all this very edgy content and things that are quite explicit, and that his target audience is very young. Yeah, his target audience are super young teenagers, people going into high school, etc., etc. With his music, and I know a lot of teenagers love his music, but I think that it's just that explicit content might hinder some people's and like the way they feel about finding their own self-identity or sexuality, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you take that point, but also you could take the other side where, okay, for straight men like me and you, if we see this thing, obviously it makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable because we don't feel that way towards men. But you can also argue that, okay, well, you've got Cardi B and Nicki Minaj and stuff putting out music videos like Anaconda and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's people under the age of, you know, 12 and stuff, you know, seeing, you know, fat fucking asses on their screen. Like, what are you going to think? You know what I mean? And what if somebody is gay? What are they going to think when they see that as well? Because that's the thing, because we feel normal around this because we're straight, okay? But obviously we're going to feel uncomfortable when Lil Nas X is putting this out because, you know, we just, that's not the way how we feel towards men. Yeah.
Other men. Yeah, no, exactly right. I mean, you're totally correct. It does go both ways. I'm not saying that what he's doing is wrong at all, because it does go both ways. You do see a lot of music videos and rappers and stuff who get these girls with big asses and the perfect bodies and this and that, you know. So it does go both ways. But I think what I'm saying is that because I don't feel that way towards a man, that just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's just
whereas,
like,
you go.
No, okay. So like, obviously the way how you actually like structured what you were saying on your Snapchat, okay, could be seen as quite offensive because you were using derogatory terms, not racist terms, not homophobic terms or anything, but you're using terms attacking him. So people obviously saw that as, okay, this man's homophobic, this man's racist, so on and so forth. What would you have to say about that? Because, like, you know, I don't need to repeat what exactly you said, but like, you know, they were quite, okay, this guy's quite passionate about how he feels, you know?
Well, I think a lot of people got confused by it. I wasn't actually, you know, attacking
the gay
him
community,
being gay or the gay community.
Yeah.
So when people were calling me homophobic and racist, it actually didn't really make sense, because I wasn't actually saying, you know, have a look at this, you know, like bad words that have been used in the past, like poof, you know, all that kind of stuff. I wasn't attacking him for being gay, or the gay community itself. For me, I was very passionate about the message that he was putting out, for a target audience that really is so young. And I mean, like we said, it's gone both ways. You know, I'm sure younger people growing up, going to high school, some people would feel the same way about, you know, Cardi B or Nicki Minaj posting some of the things they have, which is fine. But in me, for my own case, it just made me quite uncomfortable that, you know, this guy has been posting some of this stuff for a target audience that young. And so, you know, I'm not actually attacking the gay community or, you know, the black community and things like that. I was just giving my opinion about one guy who happens to be famous and a big celebrity with a massive following, which is kind of funny because a lot of people who message me, who are from Australia, you know, like the other side of the world, never going to meet him. You really don't know him at all. Calling me like homophobic, racist, you know, all these things which, you know, if I can see in context how it might have looked like, it might have, you know, been in a homophobic way, but I think they took it in the wrong way. I wasn't attacking the community. I was just voicing my opinion about what I think about his message.
Okay. Well, people also say that, okay, well, Lil Nas X is putting this stuff out, but he's also trying to promote a good message, you know, in the sense of like, you know, safe sex and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that? Because like, you know, is it, you know, obviously that's a good cause, but are you just uncomfortable with the way how he's portraying his message?
I think I have been a bit uncomfortable. You know, you've seen other celebrities who are promoting, you know, or they raise awareness for different diseases, AIDS, STIs, blah, blah, blah. I just feel like the way that he's been promoting his message about safe sex, you know, I've got safe sex. It's a massive thing in the community, especially for young people. There's a very high percentage of teenage pregnancies and abortions as well. And especially in the gay community, the death and infection rates of HIV is quite massive as well. So I mean, it is a problem that, you know, I think needs to be addressed. And someone of his platform is, you know, should be addressing it as a gay man. You know, it's good that he is addressing it. I just feel like the way that he has been addressing it might be, well, for me, the way that he's been addressing, I think, is just a little bit borderline. You know, like you'll see other celebrities who will sit down, like do like a 2-minute video and talk about it, or, you know, post something nice on their Instagram, like a nice photo of them, or, you know, put like a research article up. But for him, it's just been a little bit different. Like the way he's gone about it has been a little bit different, and, you know, I'll say off-road. Like off, like kind of straying away from, you know, the main highway, going on his own little separate path. But for me, I just feel like his way of expressing that message has made me uncomfortable. But I think the message still needs to be addressed, to be honest, you know. But for me, it's just the way that he's been, you know, addressing it. Yeah.
It's just crazy that, you know, like, you can, you know, put out a comment like this and people, you know, start personally attacking you and start, you know, having a go at your family and, like, you know, all these terrible messages. Like, I think the main problem with what you put out objectively was the way how you structured it, because, you know, you don't call people derogatory terms when you, like, put something out of the internet, because people are just going to take it the wrong way. Like, your opinion is not objectively wrong, but what you're putting out of the internet kind of is, because, you know, like, as soon as you see something like that, people are just going to attack you. You know what I mean?
Well, the other thing with that is that, you know, like I did put that out, and then it's kind of funny how a lot of these people who did text me back or respond, you know, they're so passionate about, you know, gay equality, gay rights, etc.
Yeah.
But then as soon as someone challenges their opinions and their views about the gay community, they just either personally attack them or try and cancel them and shut them down. And that's what I feel in my case. Obviously it's not everyone at all, but there are some people who are a part of the gay community, who, if you challenge or oppose their opinion, first of all, they won't even listen to what you have to say. They'll just completely disregard it, not care at all.
So do you think there's kind of like, I don't want to put him under this category, but there's kind of like extremists in the group that, you know, will try and shun anybody who has a different opinion? Because, I mean, that's just a part of this, like, it's part of human nature, right? It's impossible for everybody to believe in the same thing, because...
Well, I mean, you have, like, politics who are extreme rights and extreme lefts, and, you know, you have extremist groups, you know, like the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, etc. You know, it's a natural thing. You're never going to get 100% of the world to agree on one thing, really. That's just how it goes. But everyone is allowed to have their own opinion and their own voice. And they should... It's funny, because when I put it out, people saying, "Oh, keep your opinion to yourself. Like, you know, don't talk to anyone about it. You shouldn't be having your own opinion." You know, but it's kind of funny because they've had their own opinion for so long. And like I was saying, anyone who tries to oppose it or say something different about their opinion or view, they want to cancel. And I'm not talking about the whole gay community. I'm just talking about a small percentage. So there's the exact same. It goes the same way with, you know, extremist feminists. You know, say like hate all men. You know, think it's like they're still living in the 1920s. You know, like there's very small groups around the world who are extremists on that level. So I mean, there's that. That's just my opinion on that. I think.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, I think, we live in a world where like cancel culture is a thing, and if people look for any excuse to try and shut somebody down, that's the problem though, because I'm not sure at the end of the day if people had a problem with what you actually believe in. I think they had a problem with how you put it out, because you put something on your story, I think was it a couple of days after, and you thought about it and you're like, I'm actually curious about this, and you put something out like, polite, and said, can somebody explain to me if there's 2 or more genders or whatever, or something like that, because I know you're curious about these topics, and I remember you telling me, you got like nobody coming back and having a go at you. I think it was, because you I guess the way how you structure it is that you like personally attacked Lil Nas X, and then people took that out of context and obviously thought he's personally attacking the gay community. He's attacking black people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought it was quite funny that the people who texted me back from that thought they almost felt like I was personally attacking them as a person. They've
never met him.
And they've never met him. They never will meet him. That kind of stuff. So it was just a bit funny that a lot of these people took what I put out on social media very personally to themselves, when I just wasn't talking about them or the gay community. I was talking about this one guy and how he's going about his message with his target audience.
Yeah, but like, what was your actual like? What provoked you to actually put that thing out? Because, I mean, it seemed like with the way what you were saying, it came out of like anger. You know what I mean? Like you were frustrated that, people were putting this out there. It didn't seem like, because I mean, it was kind of just, in the moment, this is how I feel. And then obviously, that's not really the best way to go about things on the internet.
Well, for me, like obviously I'm not attracted to that stuff. I don't particularly like looking at it or watching it, really,
which is fair enough. Yeah,
which is fair enough. Each to their own. I'm sure there's people who don't like watching Nicki Minaj or these other girls in bikinis and stuff online. That's totally fine. For me, like this stuff like doesn't make me it makes me pretty uncomfortable. And so it was just kind of scrolling through Instagram or going through YouTube or Facebook. It would just pop up unannounced. And it was doing it for quite a long time, actually. I don't follow him. I don't choose to watch his music videos, stuff like that. But it was just coming up and like unannounced. And I mean, what's something that makes you super uncomfortable?
Don't know. People throwing up. Yeah.
So say you're at a party and then everyone was just throwing up on you and throwing up everywhere, and you were the one who had to look after it. And then the next weekend you go to a pub or a party, people again throwing up on you. That would make you feel a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously.
It makes you uncomfortable. It's unannounced. You don't really want anything to do with it. So I mean, that's kind of the same in my position. It's unannounced.
So when people are saying to you like, oh, well, you can choose to watch his stuff or to not do stuff, it's not actually that, because you're saying like it's kind of like forced in front of you, like in advertisements and shit.
Well, yeah. Well, I didn't really choose to watch it. I've never chosen to watch it at all. But because he has released a new album, and he has like a massive following. It's been trending on different social media platforms, and his media team will put Instagram posts out for ads and sponsors and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of been everywhere, I guess. And obviously, there's been a photo that he posted that went viral, with him with like the pregnant belly. I don't know if you saw that, the pregnant belly.
Yeah.
So it was kind of everywhere, and I mean, I'm sure everyone saw it. And so for me, like I didn't choose to view it, but it was still coming up on my feed. So I was just getting a little bit annoyed by it, because I actively choose not to watch it, but it's still coming up on my feed.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like with you, it's like the only problem that you have with Lil Nas X is because you don't want him to interfere with other people's beliefs and stuff. Is that what you're trying to say? Because obviously, he's being quite expressive, but you feel as though it's wrong to shove this in front of especially a younger audience, because, they might not feel the same way, but they might feel as though they should feel that way.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, it goes both ways. Like we said before, it might be the same way if it's a woman doing it.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
For me, what I think is that, like, I don't have a problem. I think I love his music.
It is
I
good.
listen to his music.
Yeah,
I don't have
yeah.
a problem with his music. I just have a problem with pretty much what you said. You know, the explicit content that he's been posting out to very young people, and I feel like because it's been everywhere and it's being like showed YouTube, social medias, pretty much everywhere you go. I feel like a lot of young people are feeling very kind of forced into finding their self-identity or sexuality, where I feel like they should be trying to find that themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I mean that's pretty much my opinion on most of that saga that happened over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. 100%. In conclusion,
yeah.
You sorry? Are you going to apologize or no?
Well, I mean, like I'll apologize for maybe the way that I went about using my language. You know, like it's never nice to personally attack someone, but you know, you can't change the past. You know, you can't go back and change something. So, you know, like I might regret the way that I went around it, but I don't regret my opinion on the situation.
Yeah, I think that's one thing, you know, is that people obviously disagree with your opinion. I'm sure we'll get people watching this podcast who, you know, might continue saying some bad comments about you, or, you know, even me, maybe. I don't know if people have a problem with me, but I think it's good that you can stand by your opinion, because there's no objective correct opinion. It's somebody's opinion. And as long as you're not forcing somebody else to believe in that opinion, then I don't see anything wrong with that.
Exactly right. I mean, I have debates with people all the time that can be heated debates. You know, like Anthony, we debate all the time. We have different views. I debate with some of my friends, you know, politics, different world issues, things like that. But what I like about those debates is that we'll chat, we'll hear each other's opinions out freely. We might not agree on it, but then at the end of the day, they're just our opinions, and we, you know, we still have that base level of friendship that we always go back to. Yeah. Whereas as soon as, you know, I have an opinion about such a sensitive topic in society at the moment, people attack you personally instead of having an open debate about, look, like maybe I would have a different response if, you know, people texted back saying, look, that's your opinion. I understand it. I hear you out, but this is my opinion about what I think.
Yeah.
You know, like I wouldn't have had a problem with that, but it just goes to another level when you have your opinion and then people personally attacking you for your opinion. Yeah. And it was just kind of ironic that, you know, the people who are so in the gay community that we're talking about, the people who are so open about their opinions and coming out and, you know, being eccentric and all that kind of stuff. All those people who have such a strong opinion told me to keep my opinion to myself, which I think is a little bit ironic. Yeah.
I feel like, you know, we live in quite a progressive world, you know what I mean? Like, to see how far we've come in terms of the gay community and stuff, you know, I know, especially in westernized culture, you know, we talk about, you know, San Francisco, you know, gay capital in America, and, you know, especially in Sydney as well, you know. Yeah. You know, quite progressive, right? Yeah. I know, you know, you can go to like Arabic countries and African countries where, you know, gay people are still shunned and very conservative. But I think it's about like, you know, don't know the specific number, but like, you know, half of the world's countries, you know, accept gay marriage or something like that. Yeah. You know, which is a big step considering how far we've come in, you know, the last few decades. But how do you feel living in like this westernized culture, you know, having your specific opinion and not necessarily, you know, having anything wrong with, you know, gay marriage or people being gay, but, you know, having this certain belief that can be seen as quite conservative nowadays. Yeah. How do you feel? Because you're kind of in like a minority at the moment, you know, from what I've seen, you know, everyone's going to take the support of, you know, anybody who kind of opposes something like, you know, against the majority, like what it is now, you know, you're just being completely shut down. Yeah. So what's your voice on that?
Yeah. Well, for me, I feel like, you know, gay people in the community, I genuinely believe that they have equal rights to, you know, like the rest of everyone. You know, I do think that they have equal rights because, I mean, do you see them being treated any different in the court of law?
No.
for example.
Well, no.
No,
Yeah.
exactly right. Because
Yeah.
court of law, it's of a people, it's of equality.
Mm.
That's how the court of law works. It doesn't say, this is going to be at the gay court, and this is going to be normal people court. So I don't think they're treated any differently in the community. They have the same rights. They can work the same. Like Alan Joyce, I'm pretty sure the head of Qantas says he wants in the next 5 years for 50% of their staff to be non-binary. So it's that one's kind of a bit extreme for me, to be honest, because that's a lot of stuff. Qantas is a worldwide international organization. To have 50% of your staff non-binary, I think it's a little step too far. First of all, I don't know if there's going to be enough people who are qualified to be able to do that who are non-binary, because there's such a small minority. Anyway, I digress. So I think having my opinion in a Western world that's so progressive is very tough. But I mean, I stand by it because I think that the gay community does have equal rights to everyone else. Like I was saying, treated the same in the court of law, treated the same for job interviews. But I think that they take people's personal opinions and people's things that they might say about them
As an attack?
As an attack, and say, oh, well, because he said this, I'm not being treated equally. But I don't think that's the case. And so for me, my view is a little bit more conservative. But in such a progressive world, where pretty much if you don't accept it, you're racist, homophobic, you're a minority if you don't accept the stream. Yeah. So to be like my opinion, I'm definitely in a minority, to be honest. I've heard that from a lot of people.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't call you conservative because, you do believe in like gay rights, equal rights, and people freely being able to feel the way how they do sexually. I think the problem you have is people just taking it out of hand. And that can go with any sort of person. I
think that's where our world and the, country we're living in today and all over the place, everyone is so sensitive and soft. If we go back 50 years, how hard the world was to live in for, women, for gay people, for kids as well. Like, the dads would be, the big tough man, beat the kids, put them into line. The wife had their job, pretty much impossible to come out as gay. The world was so hard back then, no one took anything personally. But then you come to today and, whatever you say, someone will take it personally, whether it be an opinion on a political view or, like we're talking about the gay community or, pretty much any women's rights. Everyone is so soft about things that need to be talked about, really. And they'll take it as a personal attack. So if you're talking about women's rights, which is another relevant topic in society, if you're talking about women's rights to a woman, they're going to feel like you're taking it as a personal attack if you don't 100% believe everything they're going to say. Yeah. And I mean, the same goes with, gay community as well. Yeah. So, I mean, I think my way of thinking is in such a progressive world where everyone's quite soft. I think that it's very hard to have an opinion when it's off the grid.
Well, yeah, I think, people can often take belief to the extreme, but there's specific things that I think, like you can't really have a go at you because, you believe in these like things like gay rights and, obviously like it's all these simple things, right? You're not having a go at that, okay? No. Having a go at equal rights or people being gay or whatever. You're just having a go at people taking it to another extreme.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not even. I wouldn't call it having a go. It's not like I'm, personally attacking people who are, personally attacking me. Yeah. Or people who are extremists. I'm not having a go or personally attacking them. I just feel with an opinion like mine, people really don't like to hear it, which is fine. That's their opinion.
But I think it's also people don't like to hear it because nobody wants to talk about it.
Which is such a big problem.
Because it's not like there's so many people who just keep their opinion to themselves, And I don't think that's the way how the world should be, because people keep things to themselves. But how are we able to progress when we can't have an argument about something civilly? You know?
No, exactly right. And I
because
mean, like,
otherwise, you know, we'll get people taking shit to the extreme, and you know, you have that in any specific situation, whether it be in war and, you know, terrorism and stuff like that. People taking things to the extreme. Any sort of topic, you know, if people don't actually voice their opinion on something, then it can be taken to the extreme.
Well, like you're saying, maybe, you know, think about like Al Qaeda, right? Think if America never went to Al Qaeda, went to Afghanistan, sorry, and opposed Al Qaeda and their views, you know, they would have gone to the absolute extreme, you know. So without people opposing certain views and opinions and topics, then those people are just going to take it all the way to the extreme.
But that's the thing, though, because if we're talking about the gay community, okay, 99% of the gay community are fine. They just want equal rights, and
which I think they have.
Which, anyway. Of course, all right. But that's the thing. When we're talking about Al Qaeda, that's a 1%. You know, when we're talking about people being on the extreme, whether it be, you know, on the gay side or whatever, like with their beliefs, we're talking 1%. But still, you know, people need to voice their opinion to make sure that, you know, because I don't know, man. I just feel like, you know, talking about this right now, I feel uncomfortable because nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. And people feel uncomfortable talking about it because, you know, there's going to be people listening to this now saying, nah, you're fucking wrong or whatever. Yeah. And we're just voicing our opinion, you know?
Exactly right. So, and I mean, I think a lot of people might get, you know, will feel obligated that they can, maybe from this podcast, feel like, you know, they can attack us or say, you know, we're like, keep your opinion to yourself.
Oh, man, like, I'm more than happy than people saying, you know, I think I disagree with what you said here, or I disagree with what you're saying here, but don't personally attack me or whatever. Or
and I think it's because we have like a bit of a platform and we're voicing it on a social network. Yeah, you know, as well. So
well, that's the thing.
It's very tough.
It is very tough, but I feel like, you know, as teenagers as well, we're the future and we have to, you know, actually have a voice, and there's no right or wrong in this situation, guys. There is no right or wrong because, you know, we're not personally attacking any of you guys for your beliefs, okay? No. So, you know, Rowan, obviously, we agreed that the way how you structured what you said was wrong, and that's why people personally attacked you for that. But if people were personally attacking you and you were going about your specific opinion civilly, then that's on them, because I feel like every single person has the ability to voice their opinion. That's freedom of belief, right, guys? You know what I mean? My mum is a huge anti-vaxxer, you know, a huge anti-vaxxer. I haven't seen my mum for 2 years. She's left for France. She's not coming back. She's probably going to get deported because she hasn't been vaccinated and she legally has to get vaccinated. I don't believe with my mum. You know, I'm getting my second AstraZeneca jab in a couple days. But I'm not going to ridicule my mum because that's the way how she feels, you know, because that's her opinion. That's her belief.
She grew up with different experiences, different family, you know, a whole different world.
I have a problem with people who try to make me believe what they believe. You know, let me believe what I want to believe and let me figure it out myself, especially when I'm growing up. Okay. You know, that's the problem, you know, and that's when I will get angry at my mum if she's telling me to believe this certain way or tell me that this is fake and this is true and don't read into this news story. Let me figure it out myself. Let me figure it out myself, mum, and you can have your own belief.
And I think that fits very nicely into what we were saying before with Lil Nas X. You know, let people figure out what they want and what they want to believe. Et cetera, I think. So, I mean, I think they tie together very well with what you're saying.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, you've got such a young audience on YouTube now, and you've got this YouTube Kids thing. I think it should be used more because, you know, you're going to have young people viewing this thing. And that's the problem at the end of the day because they haven't established their opinions yet. You know, we're starting to establish our opinions, so it's okay for us to see this sort of stuff. But, you know, I don't know, a specific age range, maybe, you know, 12 to 16 or something like that. They're coming to terms with themselves. So having this sort of stuff shoved down their throat probably isn't the right thing to do from both spectrums, from
Yeah.
the gay spectrum and from the straight spectrum, because you know, it's you don't want that sort of stuff shoving down your throat, especially at such a young age.
And I think another thing I'm also quite, you know, passionate on is this concept of we're still in a patriarchal society. Well, what are your thoughts on that, Pat?
I think it depends. I think it depends on how you're brought up nowadays. For me, I'd say it was still kind of a thing. It just depends on, you know, how your parents were brought up as well. You know, my dad was brought up in, if you said this out of line, you know, you get smacked, or, you know, boys do this and girls do this. It's just how it was when he grew up. Yeah, I think, you know, like all things, it's got to be a balance. You can't have one thing overpowering another. But what do you think?
Obviously, like it is not a sensitive topic, but
Yeah.
I really don't think that we are in a patriarchal society. You know, I think this is like probably the best time in history it's ever been to be a woman. You know, you can do whatever you want,
100%.
get whatever job you want
In Australia,
etc. Yeah, in most Western countries and, you know, first world countries around the world, best time. Obviously, there are countries around the world like Afghanistan, Iraq, all those countries that are a little bit behind. But I mean, I think they will catch up eventually.
Hopefully.
But then, but I mean, then like you also look at, you know, the amount of, you know, men there are in prison. You know, the amount of men who commit suicide. You know, there's just the amount of men who are involved in war. You know, all these other things go into account that, you know, women aren't really involved in, which is, it's hard to say it's a patriarchal society when they're taking, you know, such a small percentage of successful men and using it as an umbrella and generalization for all men. That's what I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't really think it's a patriarchal society. I think it's very equal. I think it's quite equal. And I mean, that goes with, you know, the pay
Are
gap
you talking
and
about with like just in general, you know, men dominating women in the world, or are you talking about like how kids are being raised and stuff, and like the parents, or is it like kind of just under the whole umbrella?
No, I'm kind of talking about what you were first saying, how it was a conservative world 100 years ago where it was male dominant. I think that's pretty much gone out the window.
Yeah.
And a lot of people might be hanging on to, you know, but there's still, you know, a discrepancy in pays in certain jobs and stuff. Sure. I believe that in certain jobs there are pay discrepancies between men and women, but then also women usually go into more social jobs. Men usually go into more doing jobs. Like I'd probably say about 99 or 98% of the construction industry is men. But then on the other hand, you go look at, you know, teachers in school, you have 98, 99% of the teachers in schools who are women. You know, they go into a more social...
Maybe not that quite, but
well,
no.
maybe not that high, but
I'd say it's more, yeah.
Woman dominant. And I mean, you know, it doesn't matter if you're a male or woman teacher, you get paid the same. It doesn't matter if you're a male or female construction worker, you still get paid the same. You know, but a lot of women go into these more social jobs, whether that be sales, better at sales, teaching, all these other, you know, social jobs, which is part of their biological makeup. Whereas in the men's biological makeup, it's not as social. It's more doing blah blah blah. And so that's why when we talk about the pay gap, I think it's a complex issue, but it also just comes down to, you know, our biological makeup and what professions, you know, they go into, really. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if there can't be an issue if men and women are getting paid the same for, you know, a specific job. But what if we're talking about sport?
Sports a very different issue. I don't really understand, you know, the why women complain about not getting paid as much as men, and I'll list out my reasons so I don't sound like a complete and total dickhead. But it comes. Say if we look at the NRL and the NRLW in Australia, right?
Yeah.
So to get paid for these massive athletes, well, I mean, first of all, NRL's been around for a lot longer than the NRLW.
Mm-hmm.
They also take into account ticket sales
Mm-hmm.
per season, which would be a lot of money. Memberships as well, merchandise for the teams. They also have all the sponsors for their teams and fields who give them money. They also have the pay-per-view watchers on TV.
Yeah.
How much people they get watching the games on TV.
I've got
like
shit sun at the moment. Look at this.
Yeah, I know.
The sunroof
bro.
is just beaming down at me, fam.
Pat's in heaven.
I'm
He's
in heaven. I'm
He's
ascending.
transcending. He is. But
Oh my God.
No, you know how many views people are watching. I'm sure for the Penrith and Storm game on the weekend, there were millions of people watching. For the AFL Grand Final, millions of people watching. But for women's sport, they have less ticket sales. They haven't been around as long. They don't have a lot of sponsors. Not as many people watch them on TV, and they're not put on TV as much because it's very hard to make a television company money when you're not getting a lot of views, right? So a lot of things go into these salaries and why there is a pay gap in sport because of all these other issues, not just because men are better than women at some sport. Like you have Serena Williams, who's getting bank, who is amazing at tennis, the best woman to probably.
But we also look back at tennis. It's been around with women for much longer, so it's had the ability to evolve. Whereas in like sports like I don't know cricket and WNRL, the women's team hasn't really been around for that long.
And I mean the other thing is that Serena Williams said it herself. She was like, "Oh, I might be the best women's tennis player, but I couldn't beat a man in the top 100." That doesn't come down to skill. That comes down to biology.
Yeah.
Men are physically stronger, physically have more muscles, better, muscular systems and skeletal systems, right? Compared to women. They're both different, but if we're talking strength and speed and stuff, men are biologically are better than women at that.
Yeah.
But it's all relative because men play men and women play women. People say, oh, well, if they want to get equal pay, well, maybe let's put a women's NRL team in with the men's competition. What would happen? They would probably get absolutely destroyed. Same in the NBA. What would happen if you put a WNBA team into the NBA? They'd probably get destroyed. What if you had Novak Djokovic playing Serena Williams? Well, she wouldn't do too well, would she?
Yeah.
So it's all relative. So pay is relative to the men's sales, TV views, fans, tickets, merchandise, sponsors, etc. And women's is relative to their
I think it's not a matter of equal rights because, in all sports, I mean, I know, especially in Australia, we've got a women's AFL teams, women's NRL, Cricket Australian team, women's, played India yesterday, but as harsh as it is, it's a business. And if you're not bringing in numbers as much as the men,
an outcome,
you're not going to get as big an outcome. But again, like these things come with time because, I mean, obviously we talked about how physically, biologically, women in tennis aren't as good as men. However,
biologically,
physically, don't have as much fast twitch fibers, muscle groups, exactly. But still get, just as many people show up to the games and just as much pay. Am I correct in saying that?
Pretty much. Well, I mean, the prize money is pretty similar, and
money in tennis is huge. Like, if you win a Grand Slam,
you get a lot, and you see like the people who show up to women's Grand Slam games, absolutely massive. But then you look at it, tennis has been around for such a long time for women, 100 years.
Yeah. I just want to say how good women's tennis is at the moment with that young Emma Raducanu or whatever. 18 years old, won the US Open. That was so incredible. And she's incredible. And I have to give props because they work so incredibly hard. And if everybody, I think all people who play sport at a professional level deserve to be paid the same as men because the effort and everything that goes into it is so incredible. But as I said, it's a business at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, if you're taking into consideration effort, effort for both men and women is the same. They're putting in 100% of their time and work,
Training,
and body and everything, training, gym, traveling, going to games. That's their job. That's what they're paid to do. But like you said, if we're going to pay for effort, then sure, equal pay is fine. But at the end of the day, the world runs around money. This sport's a business that gives the NRL money, that gives these sponsors money, that gives you know people who are sponsoring the teams money. It's a business at the end of the day, and if you're not bringing anything into that business, then they're not going to give you an outcome. It's the same like in any world job, any regular job. If you're not putting in effort and making yourself dispensable for your work or any of that, well, what's work going to do? You're not contributing that much, or they're just going to put you out. They're going to sack you. So that's my opinion on it. I'm quite firm on that. So
we'd like to hear your guys' opinions on it all. I mean,
no, exactly right.
Give us your opinions. Email us. Give us more topics that you'd like to see us talk about, because Rowan and I at the end of the day are just giving our opinion on things, and there's no right or wrong in this situation. So we'd like to hear your opinions, and hopefully you guys are open to ours as well.
That's it. And guys, we have a guest as well later this week. It's an awesome young guest who I'm so excited to interview. It's going to be amazing.
Incredible. And we're interviewing him in a couple days. Should we tell them kind of what it is about, or no?
Maybe we say he's climbed very high.
Yeah, he's been up at the sky.
He's been up in heaven.
Yeah, we'll say that. Yeah, up above the clouds. High. Yeah,
up above the clouds. That's it. We'll say that. But guys, thanks so much for listening to this podcast. It was a little bit controversial, but we hope you guys enjoy it, and feel free to give us your opinions. We'd love to hear what you guys think on what we've said. Today. Most definitely. And guys, feel free to share the channel to your mates, and share obviously everything as much as you can, because we're trying to grow the podcast. And we got some great guests lined up as well. So we just want as many people to hear. Yeah, and to get the things that people aren't talking about out there. Yeah, exactly. It'd be fantastic. Things that need to be talked about. That's it. Yeah. That's really it, man. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Take care and peace. Take care, guys. Bye.